Timeout, 4:25 to play. George, oh my goodness! A swiveling Skywalker! George with the flush! George from the wing to the lane to the counted on a foul!
Points is nothing in today's NBA.
George drives. George! Two-handed jam! Overcooked it. Lovely on the floor for it. Keeps it alive. Here's George slithering, finishing. Trying to get it to Paul George. Having some trouble. George able to scrape it
well together this year. And how many times? It's several times. It's not once or twice. It's been a number of times.
Game, but he said it's not a great scoring night for me. I find other ways to impact the game, and that's by getting others.
A 20-year-old kid who just lost his mom, and he's trying to figure out how to move on without his superhero. As George knocks that down, and I'll say this. Harden drives, goes inside, kicks it out. Westbrook back up top to George. George, three-pointer is good. He's got 11 points. Paul George connects there. George now with 12 points. Harden against P.J. Washington. George shot blocked by Doncic. George gets it back, goes inside, layup, he banks it home. 8 on the shot clock. George, baseline jumper's good. 16 for George.
Hit 18 threes. George slithering inside, finding a sliver and gets it to go.
A lot of contact too as well. Nice
for Doncic. 5 in the second quarter. Here comes George through traffic, takes it in and scoops it home. George, 3. Got it.
Maybe this can get DG going here.
Into right now. And sets up with the shot clock at 9 and a 3. Another one! George sinks 2 in a row from distance.
Competitive engagement on the defensive end, but now he's going to have to play very smart basketball defensively, and they too will attack him.
That, by the way, I heard it. Water rises.
I think you're giving me credit sometimes that I don't deserve, but I'll take it as Paul George knocks it in off the window. I've seen some of the suits you wear, Coach Michelle. Thunder by 4 in a game that's had an 18-point turnaround. They count that basket for George.
Saar really has a live body, right, Brian? He's up on the glass, tipping him back in, grabbing rebound, blocking shots.
No, George, yes. Williams the other way, pocket pick. George with Joe in front of him, down the lane, to the rim, and lays it in. 77-72, timeout Oklahoma City. George stops on a dime inside and lays it in. George trying to show off the handles, can't get around Giddey, gets to the free throw line and knocks it down. 16 for Paul George. George rises from 20. Oh, it's good again. 18 for George. And the Clippers lead 89-87.
Should be thinking 2 points each time after that.
George outside, Westbrook setting him up for a 3. And Paul George, he was prolific from three-point range. I'm not sure where that was going. That's looking for Eubanks, but way overthrown.
Could be fatigue.
George the other way. Into the paint, step back, bank and score. And self-check at the rim. Wanted to call, won't get it. And Westbrook comes the other way. To George, strolls in, walks up, fires a 3.
Maybe have to do something different on the screen roll game when the Blazers are handling the basketball. And Paul George powers up for the 2.
18 assists for the Blazers. 72-64 count. Paul George inside. That was too easy. They found the deep post.
Is it in the room with those kids at Formula 0 is? His loyalty, if the Blazers get the stop here. With the stop and then the turnover. So just really quick here. His loyalty is not a direct
Bumbly. Terrence Mann on the deck. And Nick Batum in the corner. George strolls in with a high hook off the window on the runs. Court Leonard. Wrapped by George, turns, 4 to shoot. Crossing over on Simon. Steps back, launches a triple. Paul George, big shot there.
100 for a team that's very young. They have been very good as front runners. 24-10 with a double-digit lead.
Got to step up a little bit earlier to stop him from rolling to the rim.
George can't get inside, lets it go from 16. Houston going to bother George all the way, but he gets it right around him, down the lane and down that patch. Paul George with 7 here in the first half. The definite vibe that is different. And in a related note, Intuit Dome on time to open clock, so he goes to work, gets into the paint, whips a head-high pass in the corner of the pole. 5 to shoot, muscles off Wagner, who tries to sell the contact to no avail. George knocks it down for points 11 and 12. Here's George curling off a Morris screen. Drives on Banchero, tough shot, great footwork.
Injuries and then the problems that develop with the shot. PG fades back that double team attempt.
George will go right at him. Twisting, turning, fading, firing, counted on a foul. George knocks down the mid-range, 23 for Paul George.
Clippers have 1 left, Orlando has 2 left.
Magic with a foul to give. George from the wing to the lane, hangs inside and lays it in. 25 for George. James Morris sets the screen. George trying to operate, steps into a 3. It's good. Here we go. 106 to 104. 10 of their last 14. No timeouts. They give it to George. Attacks, gets to the rim and lays it in. 109, 106. Clippers have 12 games left after tonight as well, as Paul George connects on a 3 from the corner. 11th game, came over in a trade with the Hornets. Here's Paul George with the finger roll, gets it. George with his second basket.
Interview ever.
Well, the last time he tried to do it with him, he wouldn't talk to you and answer your questions, but did you notice, JJ, as Paul George hits, by the way, they changed it 2 to a 3 for Kawhi Leonard.
Referee and sideline reporter.
This is the nicest you've ever been. I'm waiting for the butt.
I still want to know what have a little starch on offense means.
It means have a little bit more energy.
And Draymond Green had it ripped away by Westbrook. Now George will try it. To his strong. Westbrook again with the chase down rebound. And the third time's the charm with George drilling it, but Russell Westbrook did it all there. Here's George with the blow-by and the Euro step for the basket.
3 was caused by the gravity of Steph Curry. Chasing the basketball, 2 on it, able to turn the corner. And George knocks down another 3 for the LA Clippers.
On Leonard, they don't like that matchup. Here's man driving. Paul George, potential dagger. Drilling the 3, pushing the lead to 13 and a timeout.
With the basketball Plumlee coming up to set that high screen and see how the Knicks are going to play it.
George gets down the lane and lays it in. Paul George with his first basket here in the second quarter. Few of those in some timely possessions last year for the Clippers. Hartenstein unable to knock it down there.
No, those were not 3 because we were floating in the lane. That's what they were.
Back-to-back buckets for Paul George.
Just love them, especially Tom Thibodeau. George, fadeaway 3's good. Oh, George with 7 now. Hits trail by 5.
And raised. Clippers by 3. George taking over here in the second quarter. I like it. He lays it in. Paul George with 9 here in the quarter. Putting it ball.
I think Milwaukee is the best team in the Eastern Conference. Paul George, they said I'm knocking it down. I think they have the deepest team.
By 1. ISO once again for George. Dismissed by Robinson. George recovers and lays it in. 13 second quarter points for Paul. As you know, he can get it going in any quarter. George knocks it down. He has 15. We're tied at 62.
You get caught on a guy's back, and these NBA players are too good. They don't let you get back in front once again. So the idea, nice pass on the lead finish by Paul George.
I will say this. I think this is a very, very important quarter for the Clippers, and Paul George gets it started on a good note. So Clippers holding on to a 6-point lead. I cannot emphasize this enough, how important these next 8.5 minutes are for the Clippers. George for 3, and Paul George now with 22. Clippers looking to push. And stolen by Terrence Mann. And ahead to George. George crossover inside, and the finish. Westbrook. George gets a good look and hits a 3. Your strength as a player.
They were shooting all day, Mike. Don't leave me open. No, hand down, man down. Front of mine.
Oh, preach. Westbrook out to George. And George hits the 3.
pass, goes inside, layup, top shot. Some contact as well. George looking to post up Van Vliet, has the height advantage. And knocks down the jumper. 9 straight points now. A lot of talent. There's some nights you think, wow, this team could be really good. We've had perplexing seasons as George gets inside. Oh, what a move from Paul George. 4. Similar build. I'm not doctor. George knocks that one down.
Wouldn't shoot the basketball, so it's a welcome sight to see guys step in rhythm with confidence.
George kind of looked for an opening, found it, and then threw it down.
And he's guarding George. Leonard fakes, gets bumped, continues along. Back up top, Paul George winds up and hits a 3.
And it's not easy to put all these parts together, particularly with Leonard sitting out as much as he does, to ever find the continuity as George hits a nice turnaround jumper. They have not set it to suspension either.
Right. They count the basket. Yes, George counted and a foul. Maxey goes right at Zubac. Can't get at the ball. And Zubac the rebound. Quick outlet.
George. Nice finish, Paul George.
I had a job I'd hire you today, without a doubt. So it's a good thing. It's a compliment. But as a player of yours, I had a giggle every time I walked past you with that bottom lip poked out and the remote in your hand.
Such a terrific coach. George goes in. Shot won't go. Zubac's tip misses. Gets it again. Back out to George. And George connects on a 3. George off the bounce. Goes inside. Good ball movement here. Leonard goes past Roddy. Got knocked down. George, corner 3. It's good. The extra pass. Batum for 3. Zubac. George. Step back. 3-pointer. Got it. Paul George again. His 4th 3-pointer. He's got 30.
That's tough.
And the contact came with the elbow.
George gets inside. Shot won't go. Yes, it does. Van pulled his hand back. On the drive, gets inside, kicks it out. Leonard up top court, nice fake, beautiful feet inside. George has 38, and it's an 8-point game. Alley-up, stolen by Leonard. Poor decision that time from Desmond Bain. Here comes George. Pull up, jump shot, got it. A 40-point night for Paul George. Shoot for George. Back to Westbrook. Westbrook, crossover, lefty layup, shot won't go. Fight for the rebound. George has it. Back up, it's good. Paul George on the follow.
It's been a while since we've heard that here. It's so nice to come home to that.
George, mid-range jumper. Kings on top by 4. Look at the defense played by Keegan as George step back. That's his spot. Corner jumper. 23 points, 8 assists. George stopping on the dime. Tough move from Paul George.
Starting to see him pull out some things in his mid-range game.
George, another bucket.
Barnes is 30 years old and has an old man game. And it is the best game out there. He makes it look so easy.
George, straightaway 3. Got it. Paul George makes it a 6.
And they've cleared up. They're all high for Paul George on the low.
George, corner 3. Big shot for PG-13. Defensive purposes. Here's Paul George getting to the strong hand, and PG is on one here in the fourth.
Just really lighting it up, averaging over 26 points a game.
George finds himself open inside. Easy basket in there. Met by Plumlee, and George comes out of the pack. Plumlee's having a nice start to this game. George drives in. George able to score with a foul and 1 for Paul George. 125 points on average in the last 9 games. George for 3 now. That one's down. To figure out rotations, who fits best. Clippers a much deeper team, and they certainly have finals aspirations as Paul George, 2 years of age. George, another mid-range is good. That one. George probes. Oh, tough shot over Anderson, and able to bank it off the window with a left hand. Good ball movement all the way around the horn. Edwards. Westbrook up ahead. George running the floor.
Great look from Westbrook.
Knocked out of his hands. Westbrook on the drive. Kicks it. George open for three. Money. Westbrook with the Clippers down 4. Finds George. And George with a tough bucket.
Everything, points, assists, steals, blocks, field goal percentage, 3 percentage, having a great year.
Did a good job there on Kawhi Leonard, but Paul George finds some space on the wing. Here's George going to work on Gobert. Little fadeaway is true. Tough shot. Paul George with 20 now. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Here's George for 3. Look at Paul George. First the jam, now the 3-ball.
Last couple postseasons as George gets the tough bucket, his first points of the game. That was a great game between the Lakers and the Mavs.